So, Diablo 4, been out for about a week now. I figured I'd give my first impressions of the game. Uh, little bit about me. I am not a casual gamer, but I am definitely not hardcore either. I might have hardcore hours right now, but I do not write my own guides, do my own builds, none of that. Alright? I'm just like everybody else. I go to Maxroll, I go wherever else, look up guides. I don't have the fucking capacity to do any stuff, so this is coming from experience of somebody who's played the game almost every single day for the past week and a half, anywhere from 10 to 12 hours a day. So, I am level 75 as of the time of recording this. I have done all the altars, main story obviously, most of the side quests, every dungeon, all 115. Yeah. So, I figured I would make a list about the pros and cons I have noticed the past week. Unfortunately, I sat down for a good 30-45 minutes trying to think of the pros and cons, and the cons heavily outweigh the pros. So, I guess I'll start with the good, which will probably be only a few minutes of the video, and then the rest of it will probably be what I dislike at the moment. So, first things first, main story. It was great. Voice acting was superb. The story flowed very well. It was easy to follow. I felt very engaged pretty much the whole time. I thought the characters were great. I didn't really have any complaints about anything in the story. The only thing that I could possibly nitpick about it is Act 3 felt a little long, and not very long. I mean, not much, like maybe 20-30 minutes too long. And then Act 4 was literally 10-15 minutes, which I thought was very weird because I don't consider that to be an act. Is that literally just one boss fight? That's it. That's kind of weird, but anyway, that's like my little only gripe about the story. Side quests are actually barely entertaining. Most of them are well fleshed out. They're not just, hey, go kill 10 of these and come back. There are some of those, obviously. But there's far less than I anticipated. All the side quests are voice acted, which I thought was crazy, and they're on the same level as the main story, I would say. So I thought that was, I mean, you very rarely see every single side quest voiced in a game. Even Final Fantasy doesn't have that. Gameplay overall is great. It feels fun to play this game. I mainly play Druid, so sound effects for landslide, sound effects for the roars, sound effects for earthen bulwark, pulverize, storm strike, like basically almost everything in the Druid. It feels nice to press those buttons. Like it just feels satisfying to press them. I like the sound design of all those spells. And I've also played Barb, and I've also played Sorceress in the beta, and I also found those to be just as enjoying. Pressing Whirlwind as a Barb just feels great. It felt heavy, you know what I mean? When you press that button, you feel like you're swinging a two-handed axe or a two-handed mace. Like it feels like that. It's great. Like the core gameplay of this game is fun. It's great. It's great to just go around and kill monsters and blow everything up. Feels great. That's literally the essence of an ARPG. Even, Diablo is just go in, blow some shit up, and that's fun. Plenty of things to do. Over the course, I mean, I think you finished the main campaign around level 40-ish. I mean, depending on any side quests you do, I think I finished around the low 40s. Because I did start doing most of the side quests in Fractured Peaks before, and I think I was at level 30 something when I left. Fractured Peaks. But then I thought, hey, I really should just finish the main story and come back and do the side quests after. I really should just rush through the main story so I can unlock everything else, and then while leveling I will be doing the, you know, Tree of Whispers, all the events around the zone, Hell Tides, Nightmare Dungeons, Altars, Aspects. You know, I should really, the most optimal way is to do the main story and then do everything else after. But if you're not that kind of player, it's fine. You can literally spend 100% each zone if you want to on your way. I'm just saying it is more optimal to just do main story and do everything else afterwards. Yeah, those are pretty much all the pros I have, to be honest with you. So I guess we'll get started with the not so great things about the game. It is missing an obscene amount of quality of life that this franchise has had in other game and in their own, in the other Diablos, that they do not have in this game for some reason. Basic things that are not in this game that are in Diablo 3, Diablo 2. Like, I don't understand. Okay, first of all, the stash. What the hell happened? There's 4 tabs. Like, what? It's absolutely insane to me how there's only 4 tabs, and this is the most consumable heavy installment of the game, of the franchise. Like, you have gems that you have to manage, and a gem is the same slot as a piece of gear. This takes up the same amount of space, which I think is ridiculous. Gems should take up at least half at most. You should be able to fit 2 gems in 1 slot. So you have gems, you have consumables like elixirs. You have elixirs taking up spots. You have aspects taking up spots. You have Nightmare Dungeon sigils taking up spots, and then you have all your gear. Like, and there's so much. And sure, you have little tabs for that in your inventory, but I mean, you you have tabs for that, but it's nowhere near the amount of you need. Like, I am constantly ripping aspects off of pieces of gear that high roll, because the fact is, you wanna, if you find a high roll aspect, like a good quality high roll, like ancestral aspect, that rolls high, and the stats on the piece of gear, more than like 99.9% of the time, the stats in that gear are not BIS either. You're ripping that aspect off, keeping it, and hoping you can get a piece of gear that's close to BIS, and then you just put that aspect on, because the chances of you finding a piece of gear that has perfect stats and high rolling the aspect that you want is statistically impossible. Like, I think, like, the way they designed the gear in this game, that's never going to happen. Maybe once or twice out of the entire time playing this game. So it's the stash, it needs work. We need more tabs. We need more tabs. And my only thought about this is they're gonna add it to the shop. They're gonna have it. Oh, you want more tabs? Here, pay $20. We'll give you more tabs, which is ridiculous. Like, that's the only way. That's the only logical way I can see why they did this. Because they had Diablo 3. I don't remember exactly how many tabs there are, but there were way more than 4. I think there's at least a dozen, at least. So not having all those tabs greatly diminishes you keeping things. You got a gear for your alt? Nope. No, I can't. Do I want to rip this aspect? No, because I don't have any fucking room for it. What am I supposed to do? Gems only stack up to 50? How about gems stack up to 100, 200? How about gems don't take up a whole slot? Just like a piece of gear. Okay, so enough about the stash. Well, technically not enough. This is also a part of the. There's no search function. Well, like what? There's no search function in your bags or the stash. Games have had search function. This is like literally basic shit. How is there not a basic? How is this not in the game? I don't understand how they can. It's mind-boggling to me. I don't know. So there's no search function. The sort function, nobody really understands even how that works. I've sorted things before. Sometimes it sorts by, I don't know. I thought I sorted alphabetically. No. I thought I sorted by item level, power level. No. I don't know how the sort function works. The sort function needs to be fixed, or you need to have options of how you want to sort, because right now you just press sort. That's it. Like, it doesn't give you an option. Like, do you want to sort by this? Do you want to sort by that? No. Again, basic shit. Basic fucking shit that is in other games isn't in this game. Chat? Where is it? It's literally non-existent. You have to actually go into options to turn trade chat on, and I think I've seen one person use it in any of the games I played. I think I've seen one person use the chat. Trying to find a group in this game, good luck. You go to events, sure, you see other players there, but nobody's going around spam inviting people. Literally no one. This game is way too fast paced to do that. You're not going to go to an event and go to E and invite everyone, because everyone there is just blowing shit up. You know what I mean? There needs to be some kind of LFG function. It's not a huge issue because most people play this game SSF. Most people like playing this game solo. So, I mean, as far as list of complaints, that's very low. So, but it does feel weird not having any sort of chat whatsoever. I feel like I'm playing this game completely solo, and and it's just like a bunch of NPCs running around. Like, I don't know, it's just really weird. Advanced tooltips turned off by default. That shit should be on by default. Okay, most people, especially casuals, if you don't have it on, they don't know if a legendary is good or not. Like, ooh, they might think, ooh, this does 80% more damage than it's pulverized, makes my thing do 80% more damage with this aspect. Meanwhile, it's between 50 and 200%. So if they see 80, they're like, oh wow, that's a lot. But really, could be way better, and they have no idea. They have no idea. The advanced tooltip should be on by default. It shouldn't be off by default. Okay, the horse. The horse. It sucks. It sucks. Okay. Half the time when I press spacebar to speed it up, it doesn't do it. Or it lags, and then like 3 seconds later it'll do it. I don't understand it. Like, I get you can't do it in town, but when I leave town and I press spacebar, I hear the audio noise of it trying to increase in speed, but nothing happens. There are barricades all over the place. I'm not even talking about physical. There are physical barricades, which will stop you in your tracks. But there's also, if you're not in an open field, you're gonna hit mob densities at like corners that bottleneck you and literally force you off your mount every time. And God forbid you get knocked off your mount, you have to wait 30 fucking seconds to mount again, and the mount cooldown, just normally getting on and off, is 10 seconds. Why is there a cooldown? I don't understand. Or I mean, I guess I understand why there's a cooldown, but it's ridiculously long. It should be cut in half. 5 seconds if you get off your horse to mount it again. 15 seconds if you get knocked off by mobs. That in my opinion, that'd be way better. 30 seconds is just, it's way too long. It is way too long. And not only that, are you getting knocked off because of barricades, because of mobs density? Sometimes my horse runs through mobs, sometimes they don't. I don't know. But not only that, the environment of the game forces you to get off this mount. You need to go down a hill, gotta get off your mount. You gotta slide down this mountain, gotta get off your mount. You gotta jump. Sometimes my horse can jump crevices, sometimes they can't. If it's too far, I gotta get off my mount, physically jump, wait fucking 8 seconds for my horse to come back, and then I can mount my horse again, only to get knocked off again at a barricade to 10 feet away. Like, it is, oh my god. The physics of this horse are terrible for the most part. 80% of the environments, I think, if you're not in an open desert or anywhere that's open, the horse is terrible. Like, it's so bad. They really need to fix this. It is so jank. Oh god. Okay, so dungeons get old very, very fast. If you've seen the layouts are probably, I don't know, I haven't really kept track, but I'd say there's probably 12, 15 unique dungeon layouts. That's about it. Once you've seen one, you've seen it all. You know what I mean? Once you've seen those few, that's it. It's the same ones over and over. For me, I did all of them within the first week, so that probably had a little bit to do with how bored I got of it, because I was just seeing the same things over and over. I guess if you're a casual player, like, you know, you play 1 hour a day, maybe a few hours a week, it probably isn't that big of an issue for you. I mean, eventually it will be, but for somebody like me who's played, you know, 80 hours of this game already, yeah, it got boring really fast. They're also very buggy. I think I've entered 4 or 5 dungeons where I instantly got teleported to the end, like in the boss room with no boss, and the objective was to do the first my objective is to still do the first part of the dungeon, but there's a barrier up, so I can't get to the first part of the dungeon to complete it. So I am literally just stuck in this dungeon in the back, and I have to literally TP out because I can't get out. I have to TP out, and I either have to restart the game and hope it doesn't do that again, or sometimes they're just, you know, it's annoying. Like, I don't want to do that, you know. Side quests are also buggy. I run into multiple side quests where NPCs just stand there, don't do anything. I've tried luring mobs over to them to get them in combat, but then they just get stuck. There's just so many bugs in these dungeons and side quests. Speaking of side quests and dungeons, I've run into the issue multiple times where I have done a dungeon, and 20 minutes later, I get a quest to go back, do that dungeon again. Now, the first time that happened, I'm like, oh, you know, shit. It's just coincidence, I guess. And then it happened to me 2 more times, and I'm like, okay, well now, I'm gonna stop doing dungeons. Like, I did like 20-30 dungeons maybe the first few days, but the majority of the dungeons I've done in the past 24 hours, where I just spammed them over and over, every single one, because I don't want to do a dungeon and then 20 minutes later get a side quest and tell me to go back to do the same dungeon again, because the dungeons are already repetitive enough. I don't want to do it again. Like, there should be a system that tells you, hey, there's a quest for this dungeon, you should probably get the quest first before you do it, otherwise you're going to end up in the same situation I did. The sellers, they are massively underwhelming. They are these little tiny 1 to 2 minute things, not even, sometimes they're less than a minute. You go down there, kill a few mobs, get a chest. Usually it's not worth my time. I very rarely have found upgrades in sellers. They do drop consumables that are kind of rare in the open world, so that is kind of a reason to do them occasionally, is because they do drop some consumables that are hard to farm, and sellers sometimes drop are the best source of getting them, I should say. Apparently there is a seller that does have treasure goblins in it. Has a very rare chance to spawn them. I have done about I don't know, I'd say at least 100 sellers. I have not seen one, so I don't know how rare they are, but I've done at least 100. I have yet to see one. It's usually just the same ones over and over. Sometimes there's events in them, sometimes there's not, but they're massively underwhelming. They're just one room. You go down to the cellar, it's just one room, you kill some mobs, loot it, get out. Takes 30 seconds. The leveling, it's really long. Okay, once you hit 50, the levels just it becomes ridiculously long. It takes way too long. Most players are not gonna hit 100. I can tell you that. It takes way too much grinding to hit level 100. I understand kind of like 50 is kind of like the soft cap, and then you start getting Paragon points, but Paragon points are so huge to making your build the best it can be. Paragon points give you so much power. So if you're not 100, you're kind of just inting. You're kind of just throwing. Like you're just never gonna be as powerful. Like at level 70, obviously level 80, than you are than somebody level 100, obviously. So you really want to get to 100, but it takes, if you don't have the hours that these people do, where you play 10 to 12 hours a day, you're not getting it. You're just not gonna get there. So unless there's some kind of seasonal thing that boosts your experience, or they boost the experience of consumables or whatever, you're more than likely not gonna hit 100. Okay, speaking of seasons, having to redo Renown every season, I think if that's the case, I don't think I play seasons after the first one. Doing the Renown system the first time around, fine, sure. Doing it again from zero, no. It's no. They've already said the altars are a one-time thing. You unlock it once you're done. That's great, but it also needs to go for Renown, or they need to do something with Renown where you get the account wide things are just perma unlocked, but the top row, the more XP and more gold. Okay, if you want to reset that, sure. Or there needs to be other ways to get Renown. I don't know, but it cannot be this resetting every season. I will lose my mind. And it sucks because Paragon points are tied behind Renown. So you really want to do it. 20 Paragon points is quite a decent amount of power. So you really want to do it. But if you have to do that every single season, I'm not doing it. I'm just not. So okay, so that's the Renown. Nightmare dungeons. They're fine. I actually have fun with them. They actually should be in the pros. Nightmare dungeons are fun. I think I've done, the highest I've done, I think, is a 37. I haven't really been pushing them because I think 37 to 40 range is about where I can pretty much do them comfortably without dying. But I think after that, I need to level up more. I need to get better gear and more Paragon points if I really want to start pushing. But yeah, they're fun. I think they're fun. Some of the affixes are a little annoying. The regen one specifically, I fucking hate. There was another one that I can't think of right now. Shoot. But for the most part, I don't know what it is, but for the most part, most of those affixes are great. I think they're fine. The problem with Nightmare Dungeons is you are incentivized to really hold on to the same sigil. Like, you really want as many of the same sigils as possible, because the fact that you have to go to every single dungeon, you have to run there, or use your horse that gets knocked out, you get knocked off constantly, or you have to constantly dismount. You have to run to every single one, so you really don't want to do one, run halfway around the world to do another one, then do another one from another region, and then do another one. You'd rather just do the same one 4 or 5 times. It's just way more time efficient to do it like that. I really wish once you opened a Nightmare dungeon, it would just TP you right there from town. Like, it would just open a portal to the entrance, and you could just go, just like keys. Like, I don't understand. I mean, I do understand why they want you to run, because they want to make the world feel. They don't want you to just sit in town. all day and just open rifts, you know. That's how I look at it. They don't want you doing that anymore. They want you to actually go out in the world. But some of these dungeons, the waypoints, the closest waypoint is nowhere near them. And some of these dungeons, you have to dismount your horse a dozen times because of the terrain in order to get there, and it is just annoying. It is just very annoying. No map overlay. I really do miss the map overlay. I do not like hitting tab over and over and over to know where I'm going and hearing that stupid sound. And it actually kind of lags your game if you spam tab. You spam it, and you know, it's just, you know, just give me the overlay. Just can I please just have? I mean, I know it's never gonna happen. I know it's not. Like, they're never gonna add it. So I don't even know why I'm even complaining about it, because it's not happening. They're not gonna do it. But I really wish it was in the game. I can't stand tabbing and opening this gigantic map over and over and over. The amount of backtracking in these dungeons, by the way, they said they fixed it, which I guess they have for a few, but there is a ton of backtracking. A ton.
Why is this thing so tanky? Holy
yeah,
shit.
so I think having an overlay map will actually decrease that. Personally, because I lose track of where I am sometimes on the minimap. The minimap it's fine, but it's the overlay is just better. It just is. The overlay is just better, and if you don't like it, you turn it off. I don't understand. I feel like they didn't put it in there because they know most people will use the overlay, and they want people to look at the game. They want people to look at the screen. I'm not looking at the screen. You know, this is actually worse because the overlay was on top of the screen. Now I'm pressing tab, and the screen's completely gone, and now I'm just looking at a map, and I'm not even looking at the game anymore. So really, I'm not, like, it doesn't make any sense. Overlay, at least I'm still looking at the world and the map at the same time. This way, the world's completely gone because I'm pressing tab over and over and over. Oh boy. Okay, the enchanting system gets expensive way too fast. You reroll stats one time on an item, and the price absolutely skyrockets the next time you want to do it. I think they did it this way because they want people to not reroll stats on. They really just want you collecting more and more gear. They want you to not reroll stats on gear. They want you to keep farming gear until you roll pretty much best stats on gear naturally instead of actually enchanting. Again, it's just another time sink. Like, yeah, it's a time sink this game doesn't need. It doesn't. You don't need that. Like, you just don't need that. Let people reroll stats. I understand if you want to increase the price, sure. I'm rerolling stats, but right now, I reroll stats. It costs 80,000 gold, or yeah, 80,000 gold. And the next time it's like 250,000 gold. And the next time it's like 1,000,000 gold. Like, what? It's unbelievable. Finally, and I think what will happen with that gear thing, they need to add more stuff from the later D3 seasons that actually made the later D3 seasons fun. And one of those in particular was having your pet just auto disenchant everything that wasn't a legendary. That was great. Like, I miss that so badly in D4. I miss it so much. I understand why you wouldn't really want to be DEing everything except legendaries in D4, because ancestral yellows in some cases are better than legendaries, because sometimes they'll roll better stats than the legendary, and you can just rip the aspect off and put it on that, and it'll make it legendary. So I understand why you wouldn't want to DE anything that's not legendary. But I feel like if you add the pet, you can have options. Be like, hey, disenchant everything that's not ancestral. You know, yellow, a rare ancestral, anything rare, ancestral, or higher, don't disenchant. Anything below that, disenchant it all. I think that'd be a huge quality of life. Because my screen right now is filled with gold, gems, consumables, blue ancestrals, blue sacreds, yellow ancestrals, yellow sacreds, legendary ancestrals, legendary sacreds. Like, holy shit. Like, I've had groups where I've pulled 7 or 8 elites and the floor is just littered with loot. Like, and the amount of loot, like, if you were to pick up every piece of loot in every dungeon, you have to TP out at least once or twice to DE. So honestly, at this point in the game for me, I have stopped picking up gems. I have almost 2 full stacks of flawless of each gem. I don't see a reason to keep picking them up, so I'm not. So I don't pick up gems anymore. Consumables, I pick them up, but not all the time. Like, depending on what they are, I've kind of stopped picking them up. I don't pick up any blues. I usually don't even pick up yellow sacreds anymore. I usually only pick up yellow ancestrals and legendaries, and that's pretty much all I pick up. I mean, unless I really need mats or I need gold, I'll pick up almost everything and just sell it. And that's the other thing about gems: you can't salvage them, you can't sell them, you can't do anything with them, so they just sit there taking up space. So I've stopped picking them up, and honestly, I don't see a reason why you would need more, like a lot of gems. Once you craft the gems at the highest quality, I really think it's better to just unsocket it and put it in something else instead of just making another gem. Like, I don't know. To me, that just seems like, because you're not gonna have multiple sets because you don't have any stash. So, yeah. That's about everything. So I think I've talked about 4 minutes about the pros and about 25 minutes about the cons. So that's great. Yeah. So in conclusion, it has a solid. I feel like I say this about every game the past 10 years. I feel like this is just a trending thing about every game that comes out. Almost every game. This isn't the case for every game. For some game, I would say like 10% of the games, this isn't the case. But 90% of the games, I feel like, is the standard, has a good solid core, but in 1 to 2 years it'll be great. You know what I mean? I'm so sick of saying that about games. It drives me insane. I'm so sick of it. I hate how gaming has become this. I hate how it's just put something out that's functional, that's playable, and then in 1 to 2 years we'll make it better. I can't stand it. I really hope this changes. I mean, as of right now, with everything I just said, I don't see how I gave this game a 5 out of 10. Like, it's fine, it's okay. I really hope they change a lot of shit for season 1. I really hope, like, I don't see myself playing this game past a few seasons if none of these changes happen. Like, none of these quality of life changes happen. They need to happen, like, now. Like, even before season 1. Like, I doubt they're gonna do it before season 1, but they need to happen. Otherwise, this game will not make it. Like, the amount of quality of life stuff this game is missing is astronomical. Like, I'm pretty sure I've missed a bunch of them, but these are the only things I can think of that I could think of on the top of my head. So, anyway, I give this game a 5 out of 10. Like I said, it has promise, like every fucking game does apparently these days. But at its core, it's great. But would I recommend it? Honestly, no. I don't think I would. I really don't think I would recommend this for $70. I really don't. I mean, unless, yeah, I don't know. Maybe if you don't play the game as much as I do, sure, maybe it's worth $70. But if you play the game a lot, I don't know. It's really hard. I really don't know. I really don't think I would. I really don't think I would. I don't see how you can give this game any higher than a 7. I really don't. Anything that I think anybody that gives this game higher than a 7 is being disingenuous and is just literally a Diablo fanboy, and nothing they can do will change their mind. So yeah, I really don't see how you can get this game higher than 7 personally. So yeah, that's it. Adios.